Hello and welcome back to Tips, Tums and All Things Mum. I'm here with the lovely Vikki today.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, yeah, good, thank you. Thank you for driving all this way to get here. You've come quite a way, haven't you?
Yeah, we've come from Kent, but actually podcast is on my bucket list, so here I am.
There you go.
So
Tick, tick, tick.
This is a tick today for me, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Do you want to start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I was born in London, and I lived with my parents in London and went to school in London, and I won a scholarship when I was little to go to a theatre school. So my parents weren't very wealthy, so the only way for me to get to that theatre school was to win the scholarship. And it was quite a famous school in London called Italia Conti. And for
I've heard
anybody
of that one.
who hasn't heard of it, it's like a full-time school where you kind of do your academic work in the morning, and then in the afternoon you sing and dance and act and da-da-da. So I was there from sort of 11 to 18, 19. And at first, in the younger years, I was a little bit bullied because most of the other kids paid to be there and I didn't. You know what kids are like like that. But so I did theatre school and then left college at like kind of 18 and started a sort of a career as a dancer in the West End and did lots of kind of West End theatre shows.
Amazing.
And finished those and got married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And now I run a franchise of Baby Ballet.
Yeah.
Which is a business that I kind of bought as a franchise.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because do you own the whole of Baby Ballet or just the one that I was going to say, because there's lots of them. We've got one near us as well.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, the lovely Miss Vikki. She's another Miss Vikki here. Yeah, she's lovely. It's a franchise business, so I don't own the whole of Baby Ballet.
Yeah,
I just own like Maidstone and Medway, where I live in Kent. I bought that about 11 years ago when my daughter was like 1. And it was born up in Halifax, and the idea of the franchise was that it was dance for all children, because ballet can have a little bit of a stigma around it that you know you can't do ballet if you know you're not going to be the best or whatever. But it was for everybody, so and I loved it. Yeah, so
I love that. That must be so cute seeing the little ballet dancers in their little outfits.
It is really cute.
So cute, dancing around. I'd love my daughter to get into ballet, but she's just not interested. She's a gymnast, so
cool.
She's gone down that route, and I'm like, but what about ballet and dance and all
but she'll be all strong and bendy and amazing.
And then I can be like, now go do dance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But what was it like being in West End shows, and what kind of shows were you in?
Okay, so the first show I did was Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. It was at the Palladium with when I first went into the show, actually it was Philip Schofield, and then when I finished the show it was Jason Donovan. I queued up around the Palladium. I think I was like I got a raffle ticket. I was like number 600 and something, and I walked in and it was my first kind of big audition from leaving college, and I thought I'll never get in. And lo and behold, there I was. I was like, oh my god, I'm in. And so that was my first show, and from there I did Cats in the West End, and I think in total it's 12 West End shows that I did in the end. And the last one I actually performed in was Footloose at the Novello Theatre with Derek Howe. Yeah, that was the last one I kind of performed in. But I also did tour as well with some shows and kind of looked after them and stuff. But being day to day, being in West End shows, I mean, obviously it all looks glamorous when you go buy your ticket and you go and see the finished product. But as you can imagine, there's a lot of hard work. And I think that half of it was luck, but half of it was I really did work hard. You know, I worked hard to get into my school because nobody was paying for me to be there. I had to work hard to keep my scholarship and to keep my place at my school. And because my parents didn't have the money, you know, to send me, I was like, I need to work hard. So I worked hard in all my jobs, and then I think just that each job led to the next job because I kind of kept going. And so every day you'd get up, go rehearsals, do all of that. Then the show in the evening, you know, grab some food, eat not too much, but enough to keep you going and go do the show. And it was very, very unsociable, really. My life was always about the show that I was in and that group of people, because other than that, I mean, you'd start work at maybe 10 in the morning and wouldn't finish till like 10 o'clock at night. And you'd only really get Sundays off. Some shows do Sundays now and take like a Monday off, but we would always get Sundays off. And so you couldn't really meet loads of people outside of that bubble. And then you'd move on to your next show and next bubble, and that would become your family, you know, for the next year or however long it was, kind of thing.
It must be a lot of work.
It was a lot of work. I look back now, because I turned 50 this year. Well, I say this year, it was New Year's Eve.
No way.
Yeah.
I must know your secret.
So now I've kind of hit that midlife zone. I look back now and think, oh my God, how did I do that? 8 shows a week and all that. But actually, that was easy compared to parenting and being a mum. I would go back.
Isn't everything?
I know, right?
I know. I was talking to a journalist earlier about how, because I work in critical care, and I was like, yeah, critical care is a breeze compared to parenthood. I was like, give me a patient that's in cardiac arrest any day. Like, parenthood is so freaking hard.
Wow, that's an amazing job then that you do.
Yeah,
as well.
but still, parenthood is harder.
It's really hard. Hard.
It is.
But I loved my job and I loved my career. But when I became a mum, it was really apparent to me straight away that the two for me weren't going to cross over.
Are there people that do it as parents?
Yes, obviously more so men. But I do have a couple of friends that continued on in the business. Not so many, but a few. Yeah. And it does seem to be that's because the dad then took the back seat and would work from home or work part-time or whatever so that they could go off and do it. But for me, like I say, the last show I was performing in, I had my son, Louis, and I went back to performing, and he was like 6 months old, and it would be, the show would start and I'd be like, I want to go to bed now. It's like 7 o'clock. I've got to be up at like 5 a.m. But I'm now about to go on stage. And I remember being at the end of the show, like in their like mega mix dance, feeling like I'm going to either fall asleep or, slightly like pee my pants because I just had a baby 6 months ago. This is not the fun it used to be.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I kind of felt like I was starting to feel like I don't feel like I'm giving 100% to my career. Yeah. And I don't feel like I'm giving 100% to being a mum. So I decided I wanted to make that decision to kind of put my career either on hold or let it go and kind of throw myself into parenting. And that was way harder than 8 shows a week.
Yeah, it really is. And what's it like kind of behind the scenes being a West End performer? Because I know a few performers from businesses that I used to do, and they were saying that like it can be a little bit bitchy and stuff like that. And I was like, really? I can't imagine those kind of people would be like that.
No, I don't know. I don't think I ever encountered much of that.
No.
Not so much.
No.
I'm lucky I picked up so many lifelong friends along my journey. Good. And kind of maybe I just sort of steered away from all of that. Yeah. But I found it fun. The only thing I did find back then, because obviously my career was kind of back in the sort of the 2000s before, in the 90s before I had my kids, I did find that pressure to kind of, when I had Louis, it was that thing of, you just have to have a baby and just go back to work. That's what you do. And at that time I was seeing, these celebrities, like amazing celebrities like Victoria Beckham, just have a baby and then off they pop, back on stage and do it. Straight and so, and my thing was like, right, that's what I need to do, because I was seeing it, in the media. So I had Louis and I was like, I'll just bring him to the theatre and I'll just crack on, shall I? But the sleep deprivation and just the, my body wasn't what it was. I couldn't do what it was. And, and we'd be lifted up in the show and God, I felt just like a dead weight. This poor guy that had to lift me. He was like, come on, pull up. And I was like, I can't. My stomach muscles don't work.
They've been torn apart.
Yeah, exactly. So, it was so, it was.
Yeah. Oh, bless you. But then you've got to remember these people like Victoria Beckham have probably got like nannies and, help as well. So maybe they're not getting up in the night. That's the bit you don't see, right?
Yeah. And I remember getting up at like, 6 a.m. And just, Louis would be bouncing up and down. And I'd just be kind of staring at him across the bedroom thinking, how am I going to get myself out of bed? And then have enough energy to do a show, that evening sort of thing.
God, kudos to you. I don't know how you did that, because I could barely function like just being a mum, like at home, let alone then going off and doing shows. So well done you for doing it for that little bit when he was young.
Thank you. I did it because I loved both things. I loved my career and then I loved being a mum. But the two just didn't mix in the way that I wanted them to. So that's why we left London and I went into teaching for a little bit. And while Louis was in nursery, and then when we moved to Kent and we had our daughter, I'd completely given up performing by then. Oh, and
you've got your baby ballet now, which is
and which I was like, okay, so what can I do because the stay-at-home mum thing I don't think it would have worked for me because I'd been so active all my life and always worked and had my own career and stuff. I said, what can I do that's going to kind of, you know, give me the freedom I need for like the lifestyle with my kids, to be able to be at their little shows and their parents' evenings and everything, which I wouldn't have been able to do if I'd have stayed in theatre. But what my brain just didn't have the capacity to retrain as something else. So I was like, what can I do? And then the opportunity to kind of get involved with baby ballet came along. I was like, this is actually perfect because it's dancing. Well, tick, I know everything, you know, that I think I need to know about dancing. It's a business. Well, okay, I'll just wing that and work that out. My dad's a really good businessman. So I was like, do you know what? He'll help me. He'll be amazing. And I was very lucky because I had such amazing childcare with my in-laws and my parents, you know, being around to help me with childcare. Otherwise, I don't think I'd have been able to get it all up and running on my own. But it's
hard, isn't it? I was talking to my best friend about this earlier, actually, that as a mum, like once you become a mum, you need to be there for everything. And we were talking about the fact that we've got sports day coming up. She had sports day on the same day as her daughter's jabs, and she was also babysitting someone else's child. And she was like, how could I ever possibly go back to work? I would have lost my job by now, because when they're sick, it's me that's off. When there's jabs or doctor's appointments or sports day, it's me that's off. So you wouldn't be able to easily hold down a traditional like 9 to 5 as a mum, because you just have to be able to like tap out and do all of these different things.
Completely.
So you've got something that works.
Yeah, and being my own kind of little boss gives me that flexibility. Yeah. But with the work that I do in theatre, well, I couldn't just say, well, no, hold the show tonight because, you know, my daughter's got her, you know, dance assembly or whatever. So that's why that wasn't going to work out. But and do you know what? I now work, so Baby Ballet, I work with a group of women. So my team, we're all women and they are all amazingly strong, talented, fabulous women. And we do have some mums within our team, and you know, like you've just said, sports day, we've got sports day coming up, and there's a little bit I can see in the calendar, like so and so's covering so and so's classes, so that so and so, you know, so they're all having a little bit of a switch around, and it's amazing because we all support each other like that. But we all kind of get it because we're just like, we're trying to do a little bit of it all here and not drop balls, you know, like with the kids or with work. And it's a hard juggle.
It is. I've literally got 3 jobs because it enables me to be there for the kids, but also have these 3 flexible jobs that I'm like shoving places that I can actually like put time into them, but also be there for the kids. So
yeah, definitely,
it's really hard.
Yeah,
really
I think the juggle is what I struggle with the most. Yeah, being able to like keep everything going without having a mini mum meltdown, breakdown.
I have them regularly.
Yeah, it's hard, right? And just to keep everybody happy and where they're meant to be, and have you got your PE kit, and have you got this, and did I remember to do this at work, and did it? Yeah, so much to keep, you know, juggling everything.
And then you do end up dropping balls sometimes and forgetting things, or you do. Whatever. I was popping out to Sainsbury's last night at 9:45, just before it closed, because I forgot that my son had this donate a rainbow thing today, and you had to donate blue things, and I was like, what the bloody hell? So I had to just run to Sainsbury's and pick up some blue Pringles.
Gosh, like, that kind of stuff, I have to say, I don't miss that. You should drive me mental.
I know.
My kids are now, my son's 18. Yeah. And my daughter's 13, and so they're not in primary school. But when I was really trying to build my business when they were both in primary school, I was just like, you know, the costumes that they need, and the pound and the orange and the this, that. Can you just give me a list at the beginning of the year so I can prepare it all in August when I've got a bit of time on my hands? Or if they need £1 every month, can you just bill me?
Yeah, can I just send you 50 quid?
Because otherwise it's just freaking me out to like pull a Superman costume out of, you know, thin air 2 days before.
Ridiculous. They literally sent a thing out last week that my son had to dress like a rainbow today. And I was like, what the bloody hell am I meant to put him in? And I just literally put him in a red top and green bottoms. And I was like, yeah, close enough. And then he had to choose a colour of stuff to donate. And I was like, why? Why can I not just send you money? Can I send you money? Like,
and the World Book Day, dress up as something on book. Oh, for goodness sake.
Another thing to remember. I know. I cannot wait for that reason. I mean, I'm nervous about secondary school, but I can't wait to not have to do this random shit anymore.
I know. I have to say, I loved my kids being little, and I did love all of that.
Yeah.
But although that kind of pressure of being that mum that forgot, you know, the costume or forgot
Always
the pound
me.
of it, I didn't like that pressure. I didn't enjoy that. And now they're at secondary school, they both just get on with it.
Yeah.
Or, you know, Louis just doing his A-levels, get on with it, and they, you know, and if they forget something, well, it's on their little heads now, right?
Exactly. It's so tough.
Yeah.
But how have you found your parenthood journey to be outside of like the West End stuff?
I've really enjoyed parenting, actually. Like I said, I found it at first really hard.
Yeah.
You know, to be in the West End, I trained from kind of like, well, if you look at how long I've danced from 3 years old, but my real training from like 11 to 18, 19, I trained all that time. So when I stepped out on that stage, I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
You know, and you have 5 weeks rehearsal for any show that you're in, 6 weeks. So you're polished, you're there. When I had Louis, you know, I held him in my arms, I was like, what do I do? Oh my God.
They definitely don't come with a manual.
But I want to be a brilliant mum, but I don't actually know how to do that because nobody's trained me. Nobody tells you. I mean, I guess if everybody told you all the things that are about to happen to you, maybe women would be like, no, I'm not signing up for this.
We would literally, as a race, we would die off because no one would have kids.
Yeah, and I think as mums, I think we can all relate to this. The first time round was way harder than the second time round. And the second time round, like I say, I tried to do the career and motherhood juggle first of all, and it didn't work out for me. The second time round, when I kind of bought the business to have my daughter, I did feel a lot calmer about everything. Everything's a little bit easier the second time round because you're like, okay, I know what's coming at me now. I'm prepared. So
it's interesting you say that. I found the second time harder.
Really?
Yeah, I did.
Wow.
The first time, I think I was just so like, I wasn't on social media much. I didn't really look at anything to do with parenting. And I just kind of was like winging it and just like, oh yeah, she's fine. And the second time around, I'd kind of gone onto social media. I had friends who then had babies, and it was more of the like comparison, not only to other people, but to my first, who was a much easier baby because my second had reflux and lots of feeding issues. And it was that comparison of like, why was this so much easier the first time round?
That's really interesting about social media because I hadn't looked at it in that way because there wasn't really social media when I had my son. And actually, now I look at all the social media and think, wow, it's amazing. All these mums can connect and tell stories and say, oh, it's okay that you did this or that, and, you know, and help each other out. Whereas when there wasn't all of that, I mean, I was like, how do I make friends? I didn't have any friends who were mums, so I was constantly taking myself off to these groups and then just kind of hanging by the door going, does anyone want to go for coffee? Because I did. Whereas now it seems more of a mum community that people can tap into, and amazing things like this podcast where you can go, oh wow, she said that, you know, she made that mistake too, so that's okay.
I definitely think it's going in the right direction now. I think people are talking more honestly and openly about how difficult motherhood is. But I think even just a couple of years ago, like when I had my daughter, I think everything was just so perfect, like the perfect homes, like seeing these mums going out with full hair and makeup and, you know, looking beautiful. And you just look at yourself and I'm like mum bun, like sweaters and just gross 3-day-old clothes. My house is an absolute shithole. And you're like, what am I doing wrong?
Because we can see that realness now through social media. Whereas before it was just what the media would portray. You know, so the lovely pictures that you'd see of all these, like, you know, pop stars having babies and looking amazing and stuff, whereas now it's actually real people sharing their real stories.
Exactly. And even celebrities now, I think, are doing more open and honest stuff.
100%,
Even I follow Maria Fowler. I can't remember what she was in. She was in a TV show, but she shares like her stretch marks and like openly talks about her mental health and how she's found motherhood really difficult. And I really love that celebrities are now taking that step to talk more openly about stuff.
Yeah, definitely. But I do also think that having my 2 kids and what I feel like I've achieved in my journey as a mum, it's been a better achievement than any West End show ever. And I like played a lead in an Andrew Lloyd Webber show, but that doesn't compare to how I feel when someone says to me, oh, your kids are amazing. You're like, oh wow, I made them. So thanks.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? And they're like your own little personal, I don't know, project. You can look at them and you can see like because you're putting all these hours into teaching them how to be as a person, and you can just be so proud when they say like kind things, or
exactly,
when they're like really sweet. You're just like, oh, I taught them to be like that.
And sometimes really we get it wrong because we're just people too, like them. And like I say, there's no instruction manual for being a mum. We're just doing our best kind of thing. And especially with having to work as well, sometimes your head is in two different places, and I've learned that to juggle that more. When I'm at work, be at work, and when I'm home, be at home, to really try and separate the two. And that's what I've been kind of working on recently. And all this bucket list I made for turning 50, I was like, these are the things I want to kind of change in my life and do. And so I've started to kind of...
You've ticked one today.
I know, here I am, ticking off my bucket list.
Well done. But yeah, I need your advice, because I haven't actually been able to separate home and work, because a lot of mine is like intermingled with, because this is a parenting podcast and my page is a parenting page, so a lot of it kind of meshes together. And then I'm like, I feel guilty, because I'm like, I've been on my phone too much, or I've been doing too much of something. I've been spending too much time on the housework or the house and not done enough work. So it's hard sometimes to separate the two.
Yeah, and you'll always feel that guilt, because and I felt always when I was performing, when I'd had my son, when I was at the theatre, I wanted to be at home. But when I was at home, I wanted to be at the theatre. I was like, oh my God, I need to pick which one. And it's just that thing of, I think as well with social media, I think it's so easy to be distracted by it nowadays, because it's in our pocket. And it wasn't kind of back then. And I've taken all notifications off of my social media and my phone and stuff like that. And so that I can then choose to go into my apps and look at things rather than it popping up as a little. And that's the being a Gen X and growing up without computers and phones and all that. That's one of the, I think probably one of the most difficult things I've found with parenting, is how to navigate social media, because I had to learn how to use it for my business. So when I bought Baby Ballet, I was like, oh, social media, well, that's now going to be the shop window to my business, but I don't know how to use it. And then of course, as a parent, having to teach my children how to use it, well, I didn't use it as a kid, so I don't know how you're meant to be doing it. Like, I'm making it up as well. And in fact, my kids teach me how to use social media.
I don't have a clue how to use TikTok. My daughter's like, Mum, you got to do this, and I'm like, what? I don't know, I'm too old for TikTok.
My daughter makes my husband do TikToks, and he's game for anything, right? And every time she posts one of him, all my friends start messaging me, oh my God, Danny on TikTok, he's hilarious.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, he's like...
They're like or TikTok famous.
Yeah, viral dad.
That's so funny.
Yeah, he loves it.
That's so funny. Yeah. But how is it running a business alongside having a family? Because it can't be easy.
No, it hasn't been easy. But I think there's a part of me that kind of wants my children to see that, you do have to go to work to make money. And I think they'll understand when they're older that maybe those a couple of times where I, was busy or at work or whatever. Well, that's because that's what I've been doing. Yeah. It has been a juggle. And at first, when I was still building the business, it was that thing of they'd go to bed and that's it, the laptop would be open and I'd be there till midnight. But then I realised I was really tired in the morning, a bit cranky. Then I couldn't focus. Then I was a bit grumpy with them. And I was like, hang on, this is just not working out. It's not the way. So I had to find a way to, like I've just said, like when I'm at work and really knuckle down and do what I need to do. And when I'm at home and with the kids, try to really be present with them and not be thinking and make lists before I would leave work and go, like, this is what I need to be done. This is the priority. So this has to be done tomorrow. But this can wait till the end of the week or whatever, and try and put them in an order so that I can kind of spend as much time. I've been lucky to have a business that it's like a lifestyle business that I've been able to build it around my life and the kids and the schedule, and where it's term time only, although the classes run term time only, my work doesn't run term time only, obviously, because the behind the scenes stuff, but I can be a bit more chilled when the classes are not running and stuff. So,
and I guess you're teaching your kids that they don't have to do the 9 to 5, they can have their own business, they can have something that works around their life rather than the traditional going to uni, getting a job or a career. They can just do whatever they want to do.
Both me and my husband, because being in theatre, the hours obviously were really crazy and all over the shop. And my husband, he's a creative as well and runs his own business. He's a photographer and he works ad hoc. Some weeks he'll work like I don't know, 15-hour days, like the whole week. And then the week after, he does nothing, you know, so he's really, so the kids are sort of used to seeing that kind of thing. So although my son has just finished A-levels and he's hoping to go to uni in London, and like, we're really proud because me and my husband both didn't go to uni. We just kind of went to work like you did kind of back then. And we're like, oh, wow, we've created a brainy one that might actually get into uni. And, you know, like he's a really cool kid. And my daughter is now at a full-time dance school as well. So following in my footsteps a little bit, although I have to say I really held off on that. But it got to the point where I kind of couldn't. And she loves to dance, and she's at a school where she can kind of do that as well. And she literally every hour, I mean, she loves TikTok, don't get me wrong, like every other kid, but majority of her spare time she's dancing or in shows or doing something, cheerleading, anything she can do.
That's amazing.
Clubs and stuff.
I'm literally your son. I'm the child that went to uni. Like no one had gone to uni.
Oh wow.
And then I went to uni because that's what I thought I had to do. I was like, I'm going to go to uni, get a job, get a career. And now I'm stepping out of that career. All my family, it's the generational thing with the older generations, like my grandma who's 80 something, and she's like, but you can't leave nursing, you can't, because you've trained all these years. And they don't understand that the business, that you can have businesses and work these kind of ad hoc lifestyles.
And you change and grow as a person, so you've got to go with your new vibe and what you're feeling. And actually, to be honest, literally the whole turning 50 thing was quite a big deal. And my husband's been kind of saying to me, oh, you know, you need to push yourself back out your comfort zone a bit. And I've been teaching baby ballet now for 11 years. And I've literally just like this past few weeks gone back to teaching musical theatre again, and not the babies, like older students again. And at first I was kind of nervous because I was like, oh, I haven't done this for a long time, and you know, are they going to just think I'm some old granny that's, you know, come in from but actually I'm kind of really enjoying it. And it took a while, but it's all still in there in my brain somewhere in the archives of my musical theatre. They probably respect
you because you've got many more years of experience compared to them. So I guess that's the way I'd look at it anyway.
When I was performing, most of them weren't born, to be fair, probably. But
you've got all those shows under your belt and all those years of experience. So I'd look at that as someone that's worth learning from, you know?
Definitely. My husband's always been really good like that, and when we met and I had all these posters from the show, they were kind of like just dumped to the side, and he framed them all for me, and he's kind of put them up in the house, but they're sort of at the top of our house, like where not everybody goes up. And I remember when my daughter was little, she walked up and said, what's all these funny pictures on the wall? And I was like, well, that's just like all like the shows and stuff Mummy did. And she was like, oh wow, like didn't really kind of know, because I'm just Mummy. Like, who is that person who went and did something else without me? But
now that they're older, do they get like the gravity of it, and that they were like massive shows? Now they kind of get it, and they might think I'm cool. No, maybe not. Does anyone think their mum's cool? I'm sure my eldest is definitely getting to the mum, you're embarrassing me stage, and I'm like, no, I still want to kiss you. I don't want them to ever like be embarrassed by me. I'm just going to be smooching them on the school gates when they're like 15.
I know,
they're gonna hate it. Anyway, you also talk openly about menopause as well, so could we go into that a little bit?
100%.
Kind of the first symptoms that you saw with that.
I think it's really important to talk about it, because I feel like when my journey started with menopause, it was only 5 years ago, and believe it or not, nobody was, and that's only 5 years, nobody was really talking about it, because it was an actual shock to me when actually somebody said, I think it was my husband, because he Googled all these things I was talking about. He said, I think it's menopause. And I was like, no, menopause is just like your period stop and you get a hot flush, right? And he's like, I don't know. So basically what happened was, when I look back, there were quite a lot of red flags to what we now know is the perimenopause, but I didn't even know really what menopause was, let alone perimenopause. When I look back now, there were quite a lot of red flags of things that were happening in my life, where I was dropping balls or doing things that were out of character and stuff, and not feeling myself. And I've always been a really kind of like motivated, upbeat, bubbly kind of go-getting person, doing loads of stuff, and, you know, all my performing and stuff. And I started to feel a bit like I was losing my va-va-voom, if you know what I mean. Anyway, we went away on a trip to Venice. We came back 3 weeks after. I said to my husband, I feel really dizzy, and I felt dizzy since we got back from Venice. I think I'm going to have to go to the doctor. So I go to the doctor and I tell her, I felt dizzy since I got back from Venice. And she says, there is something called disembarkment syndrome, which is something to do with the balance in your ears when you've been on water and stuff. It doesn't happen when you're on the water, but when you stop, it kind of makes you feel dizzy. And I was like, okay. And then I think she just literally said something like, so when was your last period? And I was like, I don't know. I'm quite a busy mum and I work. And she was like, well, no, just think when it was. And I had this moment of, I can't think. My actual brain, I can't think about yesterday or the day before. I don't understand. Why can't I remember? And I said to her, I'm really sorry, I can't remember. And she was like, okay, well, was it this year? And I was like, I don't know. And she was like, what do you mean you don't know? And I started to feel really flustered. And I said to her, you're making me a bit cross now. I said, I can't remember. What's that got to do with me feeling dizzy? And she said, do you feel angry? And I was like, yeah, quite a lot actually. I said, and I'm trying to work, and it came spieling out. I'm trying to work, I'm trying to do all this, I'm trying to da-da-da. And she was like, okay, I think we might need to get you some blood tests done. Anyway, they tested me for my FSH levels, which I think now they're saying is not a true reflection of, women's hormones because they fluctuate so much. But my results came back that I was literally just like 0 or whatever the test says. And so the lady said to me, I think you need to take the combined pill to regulate your hormones. Anyway, it didn't work, and I went to go back to the doctor, and I went into the doctor and I was trying to make an appointment, and the woman on reception was being a bit difficult, and I came out of the doctor's, I sat on the pavement, I just cried, picked up the phone to my husband, I was like, no one's listening to me, no one. And he was like, Vic, calm down. And then he Googled a bit of it, and he said, I think I want you to go and see this lady. She's a gynae that's an expert in menopause. I was like, okay. I went to see her. She was like, okay, there are, I don't know, don't quote me, there are like 40 symptoms of menopause. I was like, okay, but I am only 45. She was like, okay, I'm just going to read them out, and you just say yes or no. Well, when I'd answered yes to 37 of the symptoms, she was like, I think HRT would be a good thing. I was like, okay. And I realised that I'd lost my zest for life, my joy, my brain, just my enthusiasm for everything. I'd become really angry. Everything annoyed me. Like even the noise of my husband eating his dinner was annoying me. The kids were annoying me. I was annoying me. Like everything. And anyway, she put me on HRT, the bioidentical HRT. And I was literally only on it for about 3 weeks, and we went out for a dog walk, me and my husband, and it was a light bulb moment because he said something and we started to laugh, and we, when you really belly laugh and you can't catch your breath, and I stopped and I went, oh my God, I'm laughing, and realised I hadn't laughed for ages. And then I just said to my husband, why did nobody tell me about this? Why is this such a big secret that this thing happens? And I get that for not all women it's going to be 37 symptoms, and I do understand that some women just, they kind of, it kind of happens and they sort don't of really breeze through it kind of thing. But for me, it definitely wasn't like that. And now, so that's 5 years on, and like I say, I've turned 50, and I do feel like now I've kind of got myself back and my vavavoom back and all of that kind of stuff. But I think it's really important for women to say, especially like, I know some celebrities have talked about it now, to say like it's a thing, it happens to us, and it's okay. And it's not that we're not glamorous anymore, it's just that we're kind of changing, and our bodies are changing, and it's sometimes just a bit difficult to deal with. And I wasn't myself. And I think that was just really not a nice time in like my life to like not be myself for so long. And I feel like I lost a couple of years of my life almost because I wasn't enjoying it. Like I'd be like, I'm at this like party and everyone's enjoying themselves. Why am I not enjoying myself? What's wrong with me? And forgetting things, and just lots of things. And now I know what it is and I've got it under control. I'm like, yay. And actually turning 50, I'm like, let's go. This is, I'm in Act 2 now, and I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to make the most of it. And now my kids are older and a bit grown up. I've got some time back for me to do the things that I want to do. Because I think as mums, I've literally spent the last 18 years, and I say 18 because my son's 18 years, putting the needs of other people before me. And
now it's your turn.
I need a bit of time back, you know. It needs to be my time a little bit. And now obviously they are older, but I think the menopause has kind of flagged that for me, is that I have to have a little bit of, and it's okay, and I don't need to feel guilty about it. Not at all. It's okay to have some time back, and it's okay to say to the kids, just go watch a movie. Yeah, I need to take a nice long bath because I've had a really busy day. I do that
now, and mine are 5 and 3.
Right.
I'm like, I need a bath. But I really think that women should be invited to some sort of teaching about the menopause from the age of like 30, because it can happen that early. I think you should be invited somewhere where they talk you through everything that you might go through, that you can do to help it, just so, because you don't get taught otherwise. I mean, my mum's not spoken to me about what happened to her when she went through it. No. So other than speaking to people like you on my podcast, I know nothing about the menopause either. And it's going to happen to me in the next, 10, 20 years. So I'm like, we need to learn more about it, and people, the medical profession, need to do more for women.
100%, because do you know what, like I said, although everybody's journey will be different, every woman's going to go through it, right? And I don't know what the statistics are, but we're about 50% of the population, right? So it's going to happen, and it's happened. What I find bizarre is it's happened to all those women.
I know.
And nobody's really kind of spoken about it.
My mum's never uttered a word about what happened to her when she went through it.
I do speak really openly with my mum, so I do speak to her now really openly with her, and she's great, and tells me everything. And I am actually really blessed. I've got amazing men in my life. So my husband has been absolutely incredible to do with the menopause. He's just like, it's cool, I'm here for you. He supported me. He's encouraged me to do things. He saw the change in me, and he was like, no, I'll help you. So he's been amazing. And then obviously my dad, I told my dad, and my dad was amazing because he even told my son. He was like, do you know what, I hope you're okay, but I've said to Louis, your mum's struggling a bit at the moment, help her out, she gets out the car with loads of shopping bags and stuff, give her a hand, and and it's called the menopause, and her brain's a bit, if she says, oh sorry, did I say that, have I said that, did I ask you to pick up your bag 4 times, or just give her a break. And so and I think that's really important as well, to educate men, so that they understand how they can support us. And sometimes I just say to my husband, sorry, I just need 20 minutes out. Can you just, because I feel like I'm going to explode. The way I explained it when I went to see the menopause specialist, she said, like, how can you explain how you feel? I said, I feel like a bottle of champagne and the cork's about to go. But I'm scared because I feel like if the cork pops, it's going to be like catastrophic. Like, I'm going to go around telling people what I think of them, smashing up things. Like, the anger for me, the rage was real. Maybe I'd kind of pushed it down for so long. It was just,
I always laugh with my husband because I'm fucked when I go through the menopause, because I'm already a really angry person with no brain. I literally can't remember where I've put my keys most of the time, can't remember what I did yesterday. So I'm like, if I'm like this now, I'm fucked when I go through the menopause.
Oh, wow. Well,
I'm like, good luck, Alex. Good luck with that. You're going to need it.
Well, it's just, I was unrecognisable, I'm not going to lie. And it was pretty awful for me. Like, I had a real tough kind of ride with it. So I think it's really important to say, go out there, do your research. And I listened to all the podcasts. I mean, I've done so much research on it, and I bought all the books, and and they've helped, podcasts have helped me so much. That's why I'm a huge fan of podcasts. I think hearing other women's menopause journeys and hearing celebrities talk about it on podcasts, I've gone, oh my God, that's a thing. It's not just me. I'm not going crazy, forgetting things. And it's almost got to the joke now. Some of the girls I work with and people know me, they just call me Dory now, the little fish from Finding Nemo, because I'm literally like, did I tell you that already? Have I done that? Did I send you that? I can't remember.
Oh, bless you.
The brain fog is real.
Oh, yeah, I've got that now. So, as I said, I'm fucked. But have you heard of Mindy Peltz? Because she does loads on the menopause. I listen to loads of her stuff.
Oh, wow. I think so, but I've not. Does she have a podcast?
She's like a guest on other people's podcasts talking about the menopause, so she might even have her own as well, but I've listened to loads of her stuff. It's really good. So definitely recommend.
Oh, okay, I'll definitely listen to her then. Definitely.
Should we go ahead and spin the wheel?
Are you gonna spin? Okay.
You're gonna spin.
I'm gonna spin. Oh yay. It's like an 80s game show.
I know it is. Spin the wheel of misfortune.
Yes, okay.
So here is the wheel of misfortune, as we call it. So do you want to go ahead and spin?
I do. Exciting. It looks like one of those parachute things we use in our baby bag.
Yeah.
Woo.
Oh.
Oh my goodness.
You've got a confession. So these are audience confessions.
Okay.
And we're going to react to them. And I may even ask you to do a confession as well.
Oh.
So what have we got? My kids think it's normal for us to change clothes in the middle of the day, and they regularly do it themselves because that's what my husband and I tell them that we're doing when our bedroom door is locked. Oh, that is so good. Why would you lock your door to change your clothes though?
I don't know, but my daughter changes outfits about 50 times a day, so I'm with that person.
I dread the day that we get caught in the act. How do you explain that? How does one explain that situation?
I don't know, just don't get caught.
Don't get caught. We're having a cuddle, but our clothes fell off. Sorry. I can't find them. They're on the floor. I don't know, but that is so good though. I'm going to have to think of one that's like that. Like we lock the door for a reason, you know, we're wrapping Christmas presents.
Okay.
That's a good one. Wrapping Christmas presents.
Okay.
Have you got any parenthood confessions? Any fibs you've told to your kids just to get out? I know there's loads, like the park's closed, the ice cream man's not got ice cream when his sound's on.
Yeah, we've all used those. And no, I can't really think of any fibs that I've used.
No, I know.
Well, my brain's not working because I'm Dory, so I can't think of any.
Blame the menopause. The menopause. But anyway, it's been amazing having you on. Thank you so much for coming all this way again. It's been lovely.
Thanks, Lottie.
And thank you so much to everyone listening at home. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. Let us know in the comments if you relate to anything we've spoken about today. And thank you for listening.
Thanks. Thank you.